provide very necessary support services to my office. And based upon the county's salary structure and hourly wage structure, she continues to work after hours without time and a half. She continues to serve victims on weekends. She continues to do the job that all the other victim witness advocates in the state do, and she does a fine job of it. She's got a handle of it. She's hung in there. She deserves this raise based upon rationale, not based upon some other methodology. And it's also important to recognize that the county attorney's office and other departments have lost personnel who are very valuable to the county and provide a service. We work under extreme conditions and stress, and we have to continue to serve the public and bring convictions and serve victims. And we can't do that unless we have good personnel. So I'm asking you to consider the department head, which is mine, recommendation that raise be implemented. It still doesn't bring her up to where it should have been 6 years ago, but it is at least something to compensate her for the expenses that she has to go through. This position is not the position that we work out of the office, and we only work out of the office. She goes around the county as I do, meeting with victims, meeting with witnesses, going out of state. Those, with today's gas and expenses and travel and repairs, all of those things are based upon mileage. We don't have county vehicles like other departments. We don't have gas. All that comes out of Melissa, except for the mileage reimbursement. You can see that her amount for her travel here is very minimal, and it's important that she be compensated. And I just asked for that consideration for the good of the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Attorney Dewhurst. Representative Knox and McCarthy.
Thank you. I also know that Melissa does a great job. It's a great program, and I'm trying to be supportive. I think I made this suggestion last year, but I wholeheartedly adopt Representative McConkey's approach, where isn't there some middle ground here between this amount and I'll leave it at that. I just completely agree with what Representative McConkey said, that there must be some way to try to be fair and perhaps not reach for the 10% increase, but something somewhat less.
Yes. Representative McCarthy, Schmidt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Once again, and I'm beating a dead horse to death again, but, you know, here we are with redundant contracts for the installation of a pellet boiler where we're actually going to just throw $375,000 out in the wind. We're just throwing it away. We're paying the same thing twice. And you know, that doesn't seem to bother anybody. Oh, well, the contract's already let. There's nothing we can do about it now. Doesn't bother anybody.
Yeah.
But to give this poor lady here who works her teeth off a couple of $1,000 raise, we're going to dick her about it for 2 hours? It's ridiculous.
Thank you. Representative Schmidt.
I would second the good representative's comments. I would direct this to the commissioners. This is my second budget go around, and we've heard the salary spiel every year, and I agree with our attorney and whatever. But I would ask the commissioners, I would like to know, really, if you had your druthers, and if you looked at the comparison of other counties on the salary line and identifying those people who are 15, 20, and 25% below the line, I would like to know the total bottom line. What would it take to bring them up to a norm, or even 10% below the norm? If what I'm hearing here is, I think this delegation would be receptive to hearing that. But we do it piecemeal. And, you know, so I would encourage you to take a hard look at the salaries, identify those folks that you know are being shortchanged, come back to us with a total county salary line to make the adjustment, and let's discuss it, and let's right wrongs. I would fully support that.
Representative Scalia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In full disclosure, everyone here knows that I wear a brown uniform and I work in the courts, and I work with Melissa, and I see her at least 2 or 3 times a day. I won't go on and on about the job she's done. The county attorney's done a fantastic job. Representative Knox has mentioned it. My concern is this, that we have her now at the lowest in the state. If she gets her increase, she's still at the lowest in the state. And a county that compares well to us is Grafton County. I believe they're at $45,000. My concern is this, and this happened with the county attorney's office. We had a great upstart attorney that was coming through the ranks, and we lost her because of salary. If Melissa gets a job offer or position somewhere else, maybe in a different field, we lose her talent, and we have to train up somebody new. So I just would like the delegation to consider that, and I wholeheartedly would accept. I think you and I would argue who made the motion last year to split the difference, but that being said, I'm either in favor of a halfway step, or I would like to see the full step. Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Dewhurst and then Commissioner Sorensen.
I also just wanted to reiterate, I forgot to mention it before, but Wanda LeBlanc also serves in a similar capacity under Melissa, and she fills in greatly, and she also does a paralegal type job in the office, not as a legal secretary, but as a paralegal. And without her, we couldn't function. And this is an employee that comes to work faithfully, always there, dependable, do anything you ask. And it's only a few $100s difference split between the 2 budgets, and we have the luxury of splitting it between the 2 budgets with the grant. So I just ask that you also give that small consideration to her increase as well. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Sorensen.
Madam Chairman, I think Representative Schmidt's got a great idea. I think we can pull together in comparison with other counties what our people are making and what they're making, and I know it's going to cost you a lot of dollars to do that, but we can do that. We are the lowest county as far as the bottom line on the total budget. I think we've shared that with you before, but I'd be willing to put that together, and then you can make your choices from that. You'll find that we're way below in a lot of cases.
We can be called cheap. That's what the delegation does.
Well, it's true. You know, we train people, we lose the good people. We need to pay them more.
Okay, thank you. Any further
But we also
questions?
try to stay within your limits of what you set back in, when, September, October?
Yeah. Representative Fleck and then Merrill.
A question for the commissioners. Would it be possible to come up with some kind of a scale? In other words, to bring these employees up to a better level than, I'm not going to say up to whatever the state level may be, but up to at least improve the level. Would it be possible to look at that in a graduated way so that we can, if we don't reach 100% of where we'd like to be, but we would know what it would cost us to get 25% of what we would like to have, or whatever that may be? That's just a suggestion. Would it be possible to do something like that?
I think we could.
And, you know, across the board, looking at all positions so that nobody's left out?
I'm negotiating with the unions, and that's a hard deal, too, when you compare correctional officers with other officers in the state. We're way below. They're looking for a tremendous increase, and because we're in negotiations, I can't share that with you, but I'm trying to keep it down and gradually move them up, but to bring them up all of a sudden, it would be a tremendous cost to the taxpayers. But I think if we put it on maybe a 3-year period of trying to bring them up to where the other counties are paying, we could do that.
Just to follow
Okay,
up.
follow up.
I'd just like to say, and this is not a question, but I would just like to say that I think the delegation understands the task that it's laid out for you as commissioners. We keep telling you that we don't want increases, and I know that that's a direction that we've given to you. But again, this is an issue that's ongoing with the salaries. We want to reward the personnel who provide so much for us in the county. And if you can come up with some better plan, that might be helpful to us. Thank you.
Okay, Representative Merrill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I would agree with
Representative Fleck and Representative McCarthy. You know, it's always been my, particularly back when I was working in the private industry, good people are hard to find. And it's also hard to retain them because everybody tries to steal them away from you as you go. And I would much rather give the people who were doing a good job the salary, and if we have to, cut the expenses somewhere else, which might be gone a couple of years, because it doesn't make any sense to me to keep losing good people and to having to retrain that. So I would wholeheartedly support bringing everybody up to where they ought to be, with the understanding that when you look at the bottom line, we may have to make some cuts somewhere else other than salaries, but I don't think salaries is the place to do it.
Okay, thank you. Representative McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one comment. The Commissioner mentioned that he's in negotiations now with the union for the jail, and he can't share that with us. I would like to point out that according to the labor laws, RSA Chapter 273, it is an unfair labor practice not to share it with the legislative body.
Yes, Commissioner Sorensen.
Madam Chairman, I do share that with the legislative body when they vote on that contract. I believe while we're in negotiations, we haven't settled on anything at the present time, so I can't talk about it.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions on victim witness? Okay, thank you very much, Melissa. Thank you, Attorney. Let's now go to the Registry of Deeds, and that will be on page 7.
I also have handouts that were
Why don't you
scheduled to be
pass
given
them
to
half?
you
Yes.
back in December. You got it. But there was no time during that meeting.
There you go.
You got it. Yeah.
Now, can you tell me if the commissioners are with you where you are, or they've changed anything?
Okay, I'm going to kind of reiterate kind of what we just went through. In fairness to the commissioners, they've had a lot on their plate, and while we submitted our budget, we did not have a chance to come back and discuss our budgets after they made changes to our budget. I know you know that I sit through all of your meetings trying to get the feeling of what you're looking for when we're doing budget preparation. I sit here the whole time and saw that nobody wanted to pay attention to the cost of living increases, etc., and the other things that were discussed, and I honored that. When I also went to another commissioners meeting and I said, I would like an answer to the question before I prepare my budget. Are you talking about a 1% increase in our department's budget? Are you talking about a 1% increase in the overall county budget? I did my budget. I was able to make some cuts, give my employees an increase because morale is a very important thing and lacking around here. And I came in under my last year's budget. Did all of that. And my salary line was still cut, so that everybody only got their 30 cents. And I have comments to make about that and reiterate pretty much what Melissa already told you. Everybody's salary has gone down for the last 2 years. Between the I think this year they're talking 30 cents. I think last year, if I'm correct, it was 17 cents. It was supposed to be enough to cover the difference in the insurance. Our insurance rates go from July to June. And so when you're doing your budget, you're only prepared for what it's costing you for the first half of the year. And let me tell you, it changes. It goes up. So didn't, I think, other things, workman comp, some other items. So every year for the past 2 years, the salaries have gone down. I have one employee I only have 6 employees. The difference between My budget, as I gave to the commissioners and how it came back to me, is a difference of $2,245. Okay, and what I gave them was below last year's budget. So I am, again, don't think it's fair when those who pay attention to what you've asked to do and are able to look at your budget and say, where can I save in order to still provide good services to our county and be fair to the employees. And I thought I did that. And so the front page of what I was asking you was if you would please, and the commissioners at the same time, to vote on what I originally proposed. I don't know if that's even a possibility or even if I'm out of order to ask that.
No, you can ask us anything. It will all depend on how we do the voting and how we go. So thank you very much for that.
Can I ask you something else? Again, Melissa had a situation with grant money being mixed in with her budget, and I do understand that comes in as income to the county. My surcharge is for equipment only, and it is a separate entity, and it's constantly being combined. I have to keep separating it out for you because it's the amount raised by taxation does not include my surcharge account. Even when our budget went into the state, it had my surcharge money in there. And it truly is a separate entity unto itself, which has enabled us to have all those computers and everything downstairs available to everybody for use.
So what are you saying, that it is reported,
Well, when we-
the surcharge, how is it reported? But tell me that again.
Well, they use the lines from our budget as total budget, so they're using my total budget line, which includes the surcharge, and it's always done that. I've fought about it since the day I started. It's a separate entity because it is not raised by taxation.
Okay, I'm not sure what that means.
Means that it is self-funding.
Yeah, well, I understand the surcharge is, but the way that it's reported, if we didn't have the surcharge and report it, then you couldn't spend it either. So I'm not sure what it is you're trying to say.
I think it should be its own department or a separate line item.
It is, well, under the surcharge, you do have a separate line item for that.
On expenditures.
On the revenue side.
And on income, that's correct.
Yeah. So why don't you talk to the commissioners more about it, and maybe you can explain to us what it is that the registrar is saying. I don't understand that. I don't know how it would be different. Does anybody else have a clue? Okay. Go ahead.
Would you like some good figures? What we gave to the state? I didn't give you a great big huge printout.
Yeah. How are we doing overall? Are we still?
I just barely met my prediction for, it was really hard to predict. We actually have 2 years, which I think if we're within 3,000 of last year's and this year's figures, I was hoping that meant there was some stability ahead, but I can't really.
We're not really there yet.
I'm not clairvoyant. But on the state level, we collected $4,964,258.88. For LCHIP, they received $227,568. The county's figure is $707,867.04 from the Registry of Deeds for income. That's not including the surcharge. Surcharge was $28,225.
Okay. Are there any questions of the Registry of Deeds? Okay, seems good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good job.
Okay, let's go to the Carroll County Conservation District, which is going to be regional appropriations on page 19. I do believe that we have some regional grant. Okay. And I think that all of you should have, or are we getting an update on it?
No, it's the same one, but I do have it in the packet.
Okay. If anybody needs it, that would be good. Send me one of those, Joe. Thank you.
Most of you know me, but I'm the district manager of the Carroll County Conservation District. And on the, it's kind of a depressing picture, but on the front of that photo I gave you is a picture of the Dust Bowl. And that's where we all began, is from the Dust Bowl. It was because of the Dust Bowl that conservation districts were established. First of all, there was a conservation district, one conservation district for the state of New Hampshire, and then there were subdivisions, and then each county became a conservation district. And we was put in place to do work for water and soil conservation and make sure that our soils and water are good for the future generations. But what the government needed was also somebody that we could work through, and that's where USDA came in, and we worked with the, first of all, the Soil Conservation Service, then the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and they brought their money in order to implement practices that needed to be done. And the conservation districts are the conduit for this work to get done. We are the voice of the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and they are our partners, and we work hand in hand. Our office is in Conway with USDA. Thank God that they supply us an office. We don't pay rent, so that's not an expense for us. So what we come for you is for some funding to take care of salary and some health insurance. This is the fourth year in a row that we are coming in for level funding, and I'm more than happy to do that. We're okay with that, and we make it work. I did write a grant last year, and we got a website. We need to get a website up and going so that we can be a bigger voice to the landowners of Carroll County that need our assistance. We did have a nice thing happen to us this year in the back. Just to give you some information, I know for the sake of time, I just want to take a couple minutes, but we was actually in the National Forestry News for the National Association of Conservation Districts. We was written up for some work that we had done for a stabilization project. And that was really a wonderful thing to see that we was recognized nationally. So that was fun, and it was really very rewarding to see that.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we're busy. There's a lot of things happening. We've got a good year planned, a lot of projects, a lot of workshops, and so we're moving forward and very excited. I'm also the president of the District Employees Association for the whole state of New Hampshire, and we all come together. We feed off one another, we support one another, and we take information from what other districts are doing and say that will work really good in our county and help our landowners. So it's a very good organization to belong to, and very supportive, and it ends up being very helpful to the landowners of Carroll County. So that's my proposal, and we're just coming in, like I said, for level funding again, which is the $39,425,000. The county has been very gracious, and they have funded the county for 41 years. We have been a district for 62 years, and we appreciate that. We appreciate all the funding you have done in the past, and say thank you for the consideration of funding us again this year. Thank you.
Thank you for the job that you do for our landowners. Representative Babson, you have a question?
Thank you. On the last page, next to last page, high tunnel survey, income, $1,000. Where did that income go?
Where are we looking, David?
Well, proposed budget for Carroll County Conservation District.
Through an agreement with NRCS, USDA, and the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Districts, well, let me back up a little bit. Through a pilot program that USDA did, people could apply for a, grant to apply for high tunnels on their property. 15 landowners within Carroll County received high tunnels to grow food. As we all know, that if something drastic was to happen, that New Hampshire only has a 3-day supply of food. What they're trying to do is generate interest for people to have these high tunnels, to start winter crops, to provide food, have farmers market, and just for New Hampshire to start to take care of itself. One of the things that they wanted the districts to do was then, after these people get the high tunnels, is then to go out and survey them and ask them what crops they grew, how it worked, and just get a good follow-up on what they had done with the high tunnels. So we was going to get that money for doing this work through this New Hampshire Association of Conservation District agreement.
So, further question? So the money that comes in isn't just turned around and given out. This reflects the money that comes in the surveys that you do to make the follow-up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
High tunnel, that's that, like that,
Greenhouse.
greenhouse with the plastic over it.
And each landowner could get up to a size 2,178 feet, so they could be big size if that's what they wanted to do.
Okay.
And so far, it's been very successful. It's amazing how even the farmers markets are starting up here in the wintertime with some crops. So it is working. We need to generate our own food and take care of ourselves.
Further question?
Thank you, Joan. Yes, Representative Babson.
Is the grant for the high tunnel open to government agencies too, or just individuals?
Government agencies, define maybe.
For instance, Carroll County.
I don't know that. I don't know that. Everybody that has applied has been individuals. So I would have to look into that to see. I would ask Nels Lizardor, our district conservation center office.
Could you check into that and let the commissioners know?
I certainly will.
Commissioner Sorensen?
I, as an individual, could I apply to put up a high tunnel?
Yes, sir.
There must be some other criteria involved. Are we going to be selling food, or there must be something else that you don't just give money away to put up a high tunnel?
You would have had to have been doing some outside crops of your own for, I think it was a year.
Okay.
So, but I can look at all the criteria of that and send down the fact sheets on all of that, so I make sure that I'm relaying the right information.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions for Joan? Seeing none, thank you very much, and thank you for the job that you do.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'd like to call RSVP. And again, that is going to be on page 19. And it looks as if what they are asking for is level funding. Okay, thank you.
I've heard that too.
Easy. Did you start with, or what's the story?
You gotta start out with a dead horse.
Good morning. I think if you look at our budget, you notice it's gone down drastically. We've had to make a lot of major cuts, but we even funded as far as the county is concerned. The cuts we received were through the federal government, and also the state of New Hampshire cut us out. So we have tried to backtrack and not lose any of our programs, but we've had to make reductions in certain areas. I'd like to talk a little bit about our new program. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Bone Builders, but it's another program that we have started with the idea of helping to keep people in their own homes. It's to prevent falls and broken hips and that type of thing. We have two classes going, one in Eaton and one in North Conway. And we hope to start one here in the southern part of the county, but we haven't found anybody yet who's interested in taking the training so that we can offer that. that is off to a wonderful start. You know we do an awful lot of medical transportation, and I'd like to bring your attention to the numbers